I trust my readers will pardon the liberties I have taken in digressing from the main texts. This has seemed necessary in order to get before you in as concise a way as possible a few of the numerous and widespread places where records have been found that refer directly to the older civilizations, their arts and culture, as well as the determining thoughts and motives which have maintained civilizations in very high accomplishments. A few groups still achieve these higher accomplishments. These groups do, in a measure, through the presentation of these achievements, become a guiding beacon for the human race as it again marches on to another high point in civilization's progress. It is still to be determined whether the mistakes of a few, accepted by the majority, can again overwhelm and carry the great bulk into oblivion for a great cycle of time. It is our vision that the present holds all the future. Nothing save the accomplishments of the present give form to the future. Thus humanity has but one road. If the present be made perfect, the future must be perfect. It is not the present perfection delayed to some future perfection. It is the conscious present perfection that brings forth the consciousness of the perfect future. Wherever we go, we find a people that had at one time lived wholly in the present. The whole future was in complete accord with the attainments of the present, so the future could take no other direction. Thus the injunction to take no heed for the future. All their precepts were, live true to the present, and the future must be what the present has been. Their folklore, their songs, their prayers, even those written on wheels, portray this thought. The devil dance, in which the Tibetans participated so freely, was originated to frighten away the evil one who had destroyed their race concept or consciousness. Through use, it has degenerated into a mere ceremony to frighten away evil spirits. The people have become so engrossed in spirits that they have forgotten the all-inclusive spiritual. This is not confined to just one race or one creed, but to all races and creeds. The first dance portrayed beauty and purity so thoroughly enthroned that not even a suggestion of evil could dethrone it. We also investigated the goblin tales from the sea and sand, as the Gobi is called in China. In many places one hears strange voices. Many times we have heard our own names called. We have heard the din made by great throngs of people which seemed to be close by. Often we heard a variety of musical instruments accompanying sweet voices in song. We have seen many mirages and heard the noises of shifting sands. We are certain that the air strata at some distance above the deserts are so clarified that at certain times when all conditions are in harmonious accord, they act as sounding boards, which reflect the vibrations that have at one time gone out. In that way, we believe medieval happenings are reproduced through the vibrations that were sent out. Thus, the air strata becomes the sounding boards that pick up and reflect the vibrations, just as they pick up and send out the vibrations of a mirage. We became so engrossed in our work that time seemed to have wings. Working under the direction of the old Lama, we made copies and measured drawings of many of the tablets as well as other records. The morning of our departure dawned bright and clear. We had paid our respects to all in the palace of the Dalai Lama. Yet the streets were jammed with people, so anxious were they to wish us Godspeed. Everywhere hands were waving farewell or offering prayer for our safe conduct. A delegation preceded us for miles with prayer wheels on long poles, turning out prayers. 50 accompanied us to Shitsgatsi on the upper reaches of the Brahmaputra River. As we neared this, the second city of Tibet, the great Tashi Lupo Lamasery, located a mile from the city, came into view. A delegation from this lamasery met us 3 miles out and invited us to be the guest of the lamasery during our stay. We were accorded a cordial welcome on every hand. As we entered the lamasery, we felt the calm and the peace which pervaded its halls. As of a great presence, it was indeed an ideal place in which to rest before resuming our trek to Lake Doma and Sansarwar. We were also anxious to inspect the records of this monastery. From there, we wished to go on as rapidly as possible, as arrangements had been made to meet the Master Bhagavaji at the temple Porta Sangha. After the evening meal with the lamas, we talked of the many beautiful temples. The conversation then drifted to the difference in religious beliefs. One very old lama said, "The same beliefs are not shared by lamas and yogis. The yogi cannot believe that the teachings of any one man can be final. He sees that every human being has access to all knowledge right within himself, while lamas are adherents of Buddha alone. In all probability, each human being will unfold and realize his mightiness. A Christian will reach the Christ consciousness. A Buddhist will reach the Buddha attainment, and so on. All have their gods, and on every hand one can hear that God made man in his image. All nations and all people have their different gods. Some have their god of fire, others the god of harvest, and so on. Each has a better god than his brother. How am I to understand that God made man in his image, unless from the many gods set up, I would say that each man has made God in his man's own image?" We found 6 lamas at the head of a group that were known as the Wandering Lamas, who go hither and yon without purse or scrip. They never beg, ask alms, or accept food or money from anyone. They are always in touch with each other and with the 6 that are at the monastery. Of this order there are 3 branches, with 1 at the head of each branch, making 9 that are in charge. The 3 heads of the branches may be located in 3 different countries. Each of these who go out keeps in direct touch with the head of the branch he is working under. The head of the branch keeps in touch with the 6. The method which they use for communication we call thought transference, for want of a better name, but we know it to be a force far more subtle and much more definite. They call it Atma, soul conversing with soul, using no other medium. We met 6 of these lamas and had lunch with them the next day. The old lama informed us that he would accompany us to the Porta Tat Sangha temple when our work was finished. We accepted his offer, as he was a friend of the Munai, who was acting as our guide and interpreter. They both assisted us in every way with the records. During a conversation, the old lama casually remarked, "2 of your associates who left you last summer will arrive in Calcutta at 1:30 today, and if you wish to communicate with them, you can do so. Our chief wrote a message instructing them to go directly to Darjeeling and look after a business matter which needed attention, and to await our arrival on August the 24th. He dated the note, made a copy of it, and handed the original to the lama. The lama read the note, folded the paper carefully, and put it away. Our associates did meet us in Darjeeling on the 24th of August. They showed us a written message, which was placed in their hands not 20 minutes after their arrival in Calcutta. They supposed the man was a messenger who had been sent ahead with the message. Now we had physical proof of the ability of some of these lamas. If this ability could be extended in one direction, why not in all directions? We were anxious to press on toward Porta Ta Sangha. as many would gather at the temple this season, a very favorite time for such a visit. We went by way of Gyatso and were told that we could find a very fine Chela, who was known to all as the Laughing Chela. His laughter and song carried him and his associates over many difficult places, healing many as he sang. As we entered the courtyard of the lamasery, a very fine, upstanding fellow approached us with a hearty welcome, stating that they expected us to make the lamasery our home during our stay in the village. We told him that we were anxious to push on to the Parsi Pass in the morning. Put it in there. Yes, he replied, we understand that you are on your way to Puratatsenga. I return there in the morning and shall be pleased to go with you if it is your wish. We accepted, and with a hearty laugh, he conducted us to our quarters in the great hall of the lamasery. After making us comfortable, he bade us good night and took his departure, saying he would meet us in the early morning. As he walked away, he sang in a well-modulated voice. This was the Laughing Chela. We were awakened in the morning at an early hour by his singing announcement that our morning meal was ready. We bade the lamas goodbye, received their blessings, and found all in readiness for our departure on the journey to Parsi Pass. This led us past the mountain peaks of Parsi and Kang La. In all, it was an arduous climb, but at the rough places the Chela went ahead with laughter and song. At the more difficult places his voice would ring out, and it seemed as though it lifted us up over them without an effort. We arrived at the top of the pass at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.